The green shrimp, also called river shrimp, is a larger type of freshwater shrimp. This episode introduces the cultivation techniques of green shrimp.
People often call prawns river shrimp, scientifically known as Japanese swamp shrimp, belonging to the arthropods, crustaceans, longpin shrimp class. It is a unique freshwater tear of Japan and our country. It is named for its clear blue body color and semi-transparent body. Green shrimp is a larger species among freshwater shrimp and is a traditional breed in our country. In our country, green shrimps widely inhabit the rivers in both the north and south. Among the lakes, Tai Lake, Baiyang Palace, Weishan are the most prominent. The green shrimp from areas like Yangzhou and Lixiahe are the most famous. For a long time, the production of green shrimp has been a natural fishing industry, mainly relying on natural fishing. China's green shrimp farming industry began in the mid-1960s. At that time, it was mainly experimental exploration. The farming area is very small, and the yield is also very low. After entering the 70s, blue shrimp cultivation formed a certain scale, but mainly relied on mixed farming. The development speed is still relatively slow. It wasn't until the 80s that Qingxia began to enter its peak development period. The breeding cycle of green shrimp is short. It can be marketed all year round. It's a perennial consumer variety without seasonal restrictions. Its processing and cooking methods are diverse with broad taste adaptability. Their meat is tender, tasty, and nutritionally rich, high in protein and containing essential vitamins for the human body. It's highly welcomed by consumers. For many years, the demand for green shrimps has consistently outstripped supply in the market, thus maintaining its popularity. Moreover, the price is constantly rising, making it a breed with enormous market potential. Vigorously developing artificial breeding of green shrimp is an important measure to adjust the structure of the fishery and promote the fishery to reach a new level. At the same time, it also opens up a new path to wealth for our fishermen friends. For those who want to breed green shrimp, you must understand the growth process of green shrimp. Now please follow our camera into the show to find out. The whale shrimp is thick and short, divided into head and abdomen, and most of them are blue-gray. The whole body is covered with a nail-squeezing shell, which can protect the internal organs. The stationary macelles play a supportive and protective role for the body, so it's also called the external customer. The head of the blue shrimp is relatively large, tapering towards the back, especially the posterior abdomen, which appears much narrower. On the front end of the cephalothorax, there is a pair of secondary eyes on both sides of the forehead angle. Every segment of the golden shrimp, except for the last one, the tail segment, has a pair of abdominal limbs. Each kind of abdominal limb has different functions, and the abdominal limbs of different parts of the body transform into different shapes because of different functions. There are differences between the bear shrimp and the magnetic shrimp. Male shrimp are much bigger than female shrimp, and the second part of the bear shrimp is twice the size of the shrimp body. Much longer than this, the top looks like two claws. Overall, it looks like a pair of long arms. The second part of the Ertixia tribe is much shorter, about the same length as the body. When the breeding season arrives, the yellow eggs in the female shrimp's belly will be particularly prominent. After a deep understanding of the features of the green shrimp, let's take another look at the reproduction technology of green gauze. Qingxia reproduces by mating. The specifics of her reproduction are as follows. Usually, the spawning period of the whale shrimp is from April to September each year, and the optimum water temperature for spawning is 18 to 28 degrees Celsius. Prawns can spawn multiple times in their lifetime, about 2 to 3 times, with a gap of 20 to 25 days between each spawn. The Qingxia pond is also a nursery pond. Before stocking, we need to disinfect with quicklime, with an approximate dosage of 30 kilograms per acre. After disinfection for 2 days, you need to plant aquatic plants in the pond. Generally, you can water and stock by planting one plant every 2 meters or so. The water depth is assumed to be between 1.2 and 1.5 meters. The best breeding prawns come from large bodies of water, such as reservoirs and other natural bodies of water. This type of shrimp tends to be more plump than those raised in this way, and they are healthier and produce more eggs. If conditions do not permit, you can also choose to keep from pond shrimp farming, but avoid interbreeding with the same vines for many years to prevent species degradation. The more you raise, the smaller. A reminder for everyone: blue shrimps need to be purchased or caught and selected every year. They die about 15 days after their last spawn in that year. Choose prawns that weigh between 4 to 6 grams for best results. The shrimp's body should be fat, disease-free, uninjured, limbs intact, body semi-transparent, swimming quickly, and jumping agilely and strongly. Male and female green shrimps have distinct differences, with male shrimps being noticeably larger than females. Moreover, the second tribe of bear shrimp is twice the size of the shrimp body, much longer than the magnetic shrimp. The average number of eggs laid by a single weight unit of common shrimp is about 400-600. Fertilization and hatching rates can usually reach 80% to 90%. Since shrimp seedlings are not suitable for transportation, breeding is carried out by transporting clear shrimp. Transportation in summer typically takes place from April to May, when the water temperature is stable between 18 to 25 degrees Celsius. Due to the delicacy of the blue shrimp, transportation must be handled with great care. Male and female prawns should be paired in a ratio of 2 to 1. We put the well-matched prawns into the prawn cage. The transportation density is based on a hypothetical 0.5 kilo of green shrimp per bag. With such transportation, the survival rate can reach over 95%. To prevent escape, the shrimp cage needs to be closed. After installation, put the shrimp cage into a container filled with water. Note: the water level must be lower than that of the dragon, and there must be good oxygenation facilities to ensure sufficient and fragrant oxygen during transportation. The stocking amount of green shrimp can be determined according to the number of seedlings per acre of pond. Normally, each nursery pool per MU can produce about 150,000 tails of 1 centimeter in length. In addition, the amount of eggs Qingxia carries varies with the size of the female. If the length of a shrimp is 4 to 5 centimeters, it carries about 1,700 eggs. The number of porcelain shrimp per acre should be between 800 and 1,400 tails. If it's not a leopard egg shrimp, add half of the bear shrimp. That is, 400 to 700 bear shrimps mating in total. Shrimps mate freely. Their fertilization method is external fertilization. The male shrimp discharges sperm into the water, and the female shrimp's body will naturally absorb the sperm. Then, about 3 to 5 hours later, you can see the yellow beast sperm eggs. At this time, the magnetic shrimp is also known as explosive egg shrimp. The time of explosive egg laying is about 23 days. The hatching rate of collected eggs is generally about 90%. The survival rate of juveniles is between 30% and 50%. The eggs are like grapes, attached in bunches to the abdominal legs of the female shrimp. When the fertilized egg is kept at 24-28 degrees Celsius, juveniles hatch after 20-25 days. During the incubation process, the egg-carrying box will continuously sway the abdomen, which can provide good oxygen conditions for the embryo. Ensure the smooth emergence of the right body. The green shrimp will hatch juveniles about 25 days after being deployed. During this period, we must carefully nurture them and provide them with ample nutrition. This is to ensure their hatching period's nutritional and environmental needs. The specific management methods are as follows. Start tail throwing on the second day after the shrimp are stocked. Choose high-quality mixed feed with a crude protein content of over 33%. Ensure the feed is fresh, palatable, not spoiled or contaminated. The first 4 must comply with the hygiene standards of pollution-free food materials. At the time of stocking, we can go into the water directly and scatter the feed into the pond. This way, the feed can be dispersed in the pond more evenly. Feed twice a day, preferably before 8 a.m. and between 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. The daily feeding amount should reach 3% to 8% of the total weight of the shrimp, of which the amount of tailing in the morning should account for 1/3 of the total, and the tailing in the evening should account for 2/3 of the total daily tailing. We need to patrol the pond frequently to observe the riots and hatching situation of the relatives, so that we can take measures in time when special situations occur. Lack of oxygen will severely affect the growth of prawns and bring many adverse factors to the hatching process. Therefore, on days when the weather is dull or hot, we need to turn on the oxygen generator in time to ensure that there is sufficient oxygen in the canteen. Ordinary times, the oxygen dissolved in the syrup should reach more than 5 milligrams per liter. If the dissolved oxygen content is below 5 milligrams per liter, we should also turn on the oxygen machine. Under normal circumstances, oxygen is added for about 3 to 5 hours each day. During this period, we need to ensure the water quality in the pond, usually aiming for the water to be fertile, active, tender, and refreshing. When the water is too concentrated, you can add new water appropriately. The transparency of the water should generally be controlled between 20 and 30 centimeters. If the water is too light, we can use biomass traces to adjust. The components of the biological edge include EM bacteria, light and bacteria, which can purify and stabilize the water quality. This can effectively regulate the contradictions in the water quality of the farming environment. Generally, the standard usage per acre is 50 grams. After the biomass agent is prepared into a solution, it can be evenly spread directly into the pond. During the breeding period, we need to control the water level and try to keep the water depth between 1.2 and 1.5 meters to adapt to their lifestyle. When the water level is low, we need to inject new water in time. If we encounter rainy weather, it may cause the water level to be too high, at which point we need to drain promptly. When draining, to prevent shrimp from escaping, we need to set up a net at the edge of the pond and then put the pump into the net. This can prevent the shrimp from escaping. About 25 days later, we will find many restless bodies appearing on the water surface. This is the shrimp seedling bait that has just hatched. At this time, the feed we feed needs to change. Shrimp juveniles are called young shrimps by people within 30 to 45 days after birth, and this period is the starting stage of their growth and development. We must take good care of them. The specific management methods are as follows. After the right body appears, we need to use a lot of oxygenation gestures. Usually, the oxygenation time is from early morning to sunrise every day. If it's cloudy or hot, the oxygenation time should be extended. These factors need to be adjusted according to the actual situation. These newly registered small baits cannot digest information yet.
Involves rotifer, snail brain group.
5. Small aquatic insects and organic debris and other aquatic organisms. In order to take care of their diet, we need to spray soy milk. During this period, the shrimp's vitality is very fragile. To ensure the freshness of soy milk, it's best for breeding grounds with conditions to grind it themselves. This ensures the quality of the feed and provides a good platform for the growth of the shrimp. After everything is prepared, you can directly slap them into the shrimp pond. Generally speaking, it's considered as a rule of thumb for 1 to 4 kilograms per square meter. About 20 days later, the lower right body begins to metamorphose. At this time, we need to shake the tail while sprinkling soy
Right
milk.
particle teaching and thoughts.
When feeding, you can just scatter the materials directly onto the surface of the pond. With the increase in the proportion of metamorphic seedlings, the proportion of fine granular mixed feed should also gradually increase. In the final stage, we can use mixed feed. The amount of the first stomach should be reduced to 6% to 10% of the lower right body. Building on our previous cruise work, we need to pay attention to the following points for the lower right body. Be rigorous in preventing over-fertilization, water quality deterioration, and oxygen deficiency in the activity of shrimp larvae. Once abnormalities are found, they should be addressed promptly. In this way, the meat can
tactile
grow in
difference
about
is
40
more
days.
than 1.2 centimeter now.
Now, we can proceed with the shrimp farming. During this period, shrimps usually group together and swim along the water's edge, especially in the grass at the water's surface. When catching seedlings, we can use a banknote net, scooping it tight from the grass on the water surface, and we can catch shrimp seedlings. After the shrimp seedlings are replenished, they should be immediately put into containers or plastic basins. We need to fill in enough water to ensure safety before stocking. After the harvest, we can start the stocking. The best choice for Qingtang is to proceed on a sunny day, because on sunny days the temperature is high, the medication's action is big and fast, the damaging power is relatively strong, and the toxicity of the medication dissipates quickly. Usually, we use talcum powder for sugar detoxification. Adjust the fried white powder according to a concentration of 300 times into a solution and sprinkle it directly into the pond, and it's done.
Okay now.
The quantity is based on the standard of 5 to 8 kilograms per acre, and the drug can be put down after the drug effect lasts for 5 to 7 days. We usually plant aquatic plants using our hibiscus branch, vegetables, and other submerged floating plants. What we will pick is a hibiscus.
Squeeze tab into the new field.
The quantity can be measured according to the standard of 30 to 10 kilograms per acre. Once the aquatic plants are woven, you can fill up with water and start farming. You must release enough shrimp seedlings at one time. When oxygenating, we should stick to freshwater operations to ensure that yeast will not dissolve in the dissolved air. Let them naturally flow into the pond. The square sample density is calculated according to the household labor specifications per kilogram, 700 to 2000 grade. The oxygen output per acre is 20 to 45 kilograms. After the oxygenation is complete, it goes into the phase of managing the sediment. Hand breeding refers to those about 1.2 centimeters long, or those bred in sand about 1.2 centimeters long. Shrimp seedlings weighing 0.2, 0.5 grams are raised to shrimps weighing 2.5, 5 kilograms each in the process of using the product. This process takes about 6 to 7 months. The specific management methods are as follows. After the plan, the first thing we need to do is to build an artificial shrimp groove. The nest can be made of tea trees and other forked trees. We can place it directly about 2-3 meters away from the shore, and usually build a shrimp strip every 3-5 meters. The shrimp groove can not only provide activity and rest places for prawns, organic debris, filament grooves, and the 7th small ridge vertebra hole. Feeds on aquatic insects and animal corpses. The feed for the shrimp must be fresh, palatable, without spoilage or deterioration, non-polluting, and a high-quality shrimp combined with pellet feed is the best. At feeding time, it's best to scatter the feed so they can eat completely. After putting suitable feed into the shrimp steam booth, it can be filled with full flavor in 2 to 3 minutes. When the Qingsha is hungry, it often sees cockroaches with glamorous and residual lives, so artificial breeding must be enough to satisfy the nutritional requirements of Qingshan and reduce cannibalism. The number of investments is generally every 2 times, but when the water temperature is 20-30, you should feed them 3 times a day. The weight of taro should account for 7% of the weight of the shrimp. We feed twice a day, around 8 in the morning, feeding 30% of the total feed volume, around 6 in the afternoon, then invest 70%. The method of projecting 3 times a day is around 8 in the morning, around 5 in the afternoon, and around 10 in the evening. bright at both ends.
displaying 1% of the predicted
It
wave.
is 25, 40%, and 35%. Good water quality can promote the rapid growth of green shrimp, and the transparency of the shrimp pond should be maintained at 30 to 40 miles for appropriate water quality. This is very beneficial for the growth and molting of the shrimp. We patrol the pond once in the early morning and evening each day. Observe the changes in water color, the activity of the shrimps, the number of molting, and the feeding situation. Keep a good record every day, identify problems, and take corresponding measures in time. We need to pay attention to the nutritional condition of the pond every day and turn on the oxygen generator in time, according to the weather, to increase the nutrition of the pond water. Generally, an oxygenator should be run once a day from 2 to 3 p.m. for about 1 to 2 hours. After the late stage of breeding the orange twilight, according to the living habits of green shrimps, we can use tools such as ground cages to catch them. Just place the basket directly on this column. Based on practical experience, most of the shrimp caught in the ground cages are male. For females, we can catch them directly from the shrimp nest. Lift the shrimp slot out of the water, shake it in the net a few times, and you can catch the dead shrimp. We need to keep the bigger ones and sell the smaller ones. Green shrimps over 4 centimeters can be sold as commodities. Those under 4 centimeters can stay in the pond for continued breeding. The transportation of Jingxia is the same as that of Jingxia. We won't repeat it. They grow fast, can be exported, and other benefits make them a small investment. Low-risk breeding variety. It brought new hope to the weaker economic bases. As long as we manage scientifically, the green shrimp can bring us a good return.